How's that? Yay, I get to try all over again. All right. Yes? All right. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, whatever the case may be. Welcome to How to Draw Comics Like a Pro. I am your host, Mike S. Miller, 27-year veteran of the comic book industry, best known for my work on Injustice, Gods Among Us, and Injustice 2. The Game of Thrones covers, the Song of Ice and Fire, well, a bunch of the Song of Ice and Fire stuff. 27 years. Look it up. I've worked for every major company, done many major books. Superman, Wolverine, JLA, Batman, etc., etc., etc. And now I am on my own doing comics through Indiegogo. My comic right now I am doing, that I will be drawing today, is available at LoneStarComic.com. Come on, Mal. I'll just keep talking while I try to get this to work again. LoneStarComic.com. This is a book called Monster Hunt. I'll be doing the layout for page 3, and you can get it there if you like what you're seeing and you like being able to own the book that you watched being created. Go to LoneStarComic.com. It is in the description, and check that out. Let's see. Let me pop this chat out so that I can read it without twisting my neck, because it's all the way on the other side of the screen on my other monitor. This is a workshop. This is a workshop, not just your standard video, so you are welcome to ask questions, participate, as it were, and there it is. So let me get started. First of all, what you do is you get rid of your text. All right. What I'm going to do, I have a 11 by 17. Now, oftentimes I will simply work on paper, but for the sake of this show, for you guys, I am doing think, talk, draw, not at the same time. I'm doing this digitally so that you can, have a better, clearer understanding of what I am drawing right now, what I am doing. Wow, this is super laggy. I might have to shut down some stuff on my computer. You work on a 10 by 15 grid on an 11 by 17 sheet of paper. 10 by 15, 11 by 17, which means I have to lose another inch here, right? So that's an inch down, then I have to go another inch down from there. Ugh. So, but that's too low. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to center it. I'll cut my grid down here. And then drop another line here. All right. Let me delete that. Sorry, this kind of boring stuff I probably should have done in advance, but hey, now you get to witness everything happening all at the same time. All right, so wow, this is super chuggy. What else do I have open here? Let me go to OBS. Let me show something here. Video capture device? No. All right, I'm going to turn off the display capture real quick so that I can go through and turn off everything else on my computer. Like Brave browser, quit. Alright, and what else do I have? Photoshop, OBS, Mail. Yeah, let's quit Mail. I should have done this in advance. I usually only have, this is an old Mac, I usually only have Photoshop and Microsoft Word, quit. Photoshop and OBS running. But I need my script as well this time, so hopefully that will, here, let's close that out too. Hopefully that'll work. All right, turn display capture back on, and let's get to my script. All right, the script, if you can see here. Hey, Peter Mike, teach us, Mike, says Gary Shipman. Here's my script. So, in a similar pose, Lone Star is caught in a fight with a street gang in an urban neighborhood. Similar silhouette to the monster in page 2. Panel 2. Lone Star lifts a car onto its side while facing off against a gang armed with submachine guns, landing himself in a gang war scenario he wasn't expecting. Panel 3. Both gangs unload their weapons on Lone Star as he tries to duck behind the car. Panel 4. The clicking of empty guns pointed at Lone Star. Panel 5. Lone Star calls for a timeout. His jacket torn to shreds. I don't think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to make his jacket actually bulletproof. Colloidal. I don't need to get into it, but Aaron says, I am proud of my work, but I have so much to learn from you. Aaron, don't be proud. Don't be proud. Monster Hunt or Lone Star 2? This is Monster Hunt. Monster Hunt, page 3. Let's see. Alright, so I'm getting an idea of how I want to lay this out in my page. What I generally do here is I will go to the page and I'll do a quick... so I want my bottom panels here and here, and then a little panel here. I do very simple, clean storytelling layouts. Some people like to do like, okay, I'll have something action here, and I will do this occasionally, and then they'll be like, I'm gonna break up my panels into this, and I mean, I'm totally guilty of having done this myself. But, have like, super dude here, and then like all of the action, you have storytelling stuff going on here. And that's fun, and that's neat, and all that stuff. What is that? Can you go check on that? I think that might be... I know, but I don't want him breaking the window. Empty guns clicking in Lone Star. Both gangs unload their weapons, so that will be probably a second biggest panel. First, yeah. So here we'll go. No, maybe not. Okay, I want the first two panels to be a little bit bigger, so I'll squeeze that down there a little bit above midpoint, and then. Gosh, I can't decide which one of these panels. I think I want to do the first panel biggest. So we'll have some sort of a balance here where these are kind of on the same line, like here, like here, like here. Oops. Like here. Yeah, alright. So, and then here, I can do a very loose breakdown. So I wanted him to be like, so the previous page I had monster from this kind of an angle where he's like, his like traps are real high and is like pulling sort of up towards the moon. I was gonna do Lone Star in a similar pose here, but you don't see what he's doing until the next panel. So you have his like, muscles really stressed out, although he's wearing his jacket, so you're not going to see his muscles, but draw it anyways. Then you don't see what his arms are doing here, or you can have, I kind of wanted to have like a brick wall behind him, but I can also do the moon. I can do the moon behind him just like I had the other character, and I can do trees just like on the other panel, but there'll be trees behind a wall like this. And then panel 2 is him. You can see him like lifting up a car onto its side. This. Now this is just getting the storytelling idea out, right? So you're not worried about like everything looking perfect or anything. In fact, most of the times these kind of storytelling things are like super sketch. I mean, you could do thumbnails literally like 2 inches tall, and you can just thumbnail out the action in the whole panel or whatever. The whole page. Work it, Mike. You can tell that drawing on a computer is a second language to Mike, and drawing on paper is his first language. 3, 4, 5. So both weapons. Alright, so here I wanted like gangs shooting. The side of the car is like this, and it's getting just riddled with bullets. Right, so super easy layout, right? Now, if you're doing layouts for somebody else, this is shorthand that I understand. If you're doing layouts for someone else, you want to give enough information in your layout that whoever you're doing it for can understand what on earth you're doing. So, empty clicking guns. So this would be a cool, like, sideways, just a bunch of guns. Click, 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 and then over here you like see heads. Maybe up here you might do one head close up. Maybe, and then out of the top of the bullet riddled car, you have just kind of have Lone Star's little hands doing the timeout signal. That. Hey, can we get a timeout here? Alright, and that's how we do a layout. All done. Any questions? Now that I have the layout and I'm pretty happy with it, you know what? I might minimize this a little bit. Kind of squeeze this down. Yeah, maybe about that size. Like that. Ain't no time in a war, boy. Alright, then I will go in. Is the layout ready to be put in stores? No. Alright, so I will go ahead and I will start building up these characters. I can knock this down. I can do this on a separate layer and sort of do a build-up of the character. You've got to add sound effects while you're doing it as well. EVS and McFarlane do it as well. If you have any direct questions, please at me so they'll be highlighted and I'll be able to read them a little easier. I would appreciate it. Thank you very much. Very much. Thank you very much. Alright, so what I might actually do, let's see. That head too low. Oops. Oh, shoot, I forgot. Supposed to be doing this on a new layer. The new layer didn't show up. I have a slight physical invention how I may be able to overcome this. What? Are you doing all of this in the computer? Indeed I am, Gary. Indeed I am. This is computer. This is on the computer. This is on my Mac because Photoshop on my PC doesn't play nicely with me. Thanks, Mike. This will help me. All right. Good to hear. Good to hear. Let's see. Do I want to? Actually, I do want to bring his jaw up a little bit here. So let's get rid of that on the other layer too, so it doesn't distract me. I mean full inks. Oh, am I going to be doing the whole thing? No. I just do breakdowns on the computer, and then I go in. Wait a second. Wasn't I doing the? Didn't I do page 1 on the computer? I did do page 1 on the. Oh, but I did it as a live stream with like other people, so it wasn't actually a workshop. So again, this is a workshop, guys. I'm doing the layout. The layout part is done. What I'm doing now is called breakdowns. I'm just sort of tightening up some stuff. I'm not going to go into full pencils at this stage or on this stream. But if you have questions regarding layouts or, the related procedures, then please do interject. Let me know. This is supposed to be tutorial. This is the classroom. You are my students, so give it to me. Who taught you the art of layouts? That's a really good question. Nobody really. It's just something I sort of picked up from reading comics. Storytelling, visual storytelling is just telling story, and that is the important thing about layouts. All right. So super basics on layouts here. This is how a layout should read. All right, let me do another image. So you've got brush. Let me do red so it's easier. All right, so you've got, panel 1, right? Panel 2, panel 3, maybe no border on panel 3, panel 4, and then panel 5. Layouts should always read in America, left to right, and then back again, left to right, and then back again, left to right. Right? This is how we read in America. In Japan, it reads like this. Right to left, right to left, right to left. But we're not in Japan, so don't worry about it. So that is basic storytelling, right? Now, if we want to get into panel layout, certain storytelling tricks, Scott McCloud has a great book out there called Understanding Comics, and this is actually where. So I did get some stuff from Scott McCloud, although I see it in Scott McCloud. Kind of took stuff that you see and kind of explained it to it in a concise way. So if you have, let's say you have your first image, big establishing shot. All right, what the heck? Why are those rulers still showing? They shouldn't be. R. No, not R. There we go. Big establishing shot. Now, this is the establishing shot essentially for this panel, but I'm bleeding this in from the previous page. The previous page actually takes place elsewhere, and so what I'm doing here is I'm transferring the mood of the elsewhere image to the first panel of this image, because it is a sort of it sort of mirrors that image. So I'm not doing a traditional establishing shot, but I am giving you that it is night. There's trees behind him. There's a brick wall behind him, so he's kind of up against the wall. And then the next panel, we show that he is lifting a car. So we explain the action in panel 2. Now, easy understanding for panel layout is this is a sort of a standard amount of time. This is kind of a standardized amount of time, but because we do read left to right, if you have panels that read left to right in short vertical bursts like this, then this gives the implication that time is beating very quickly, right? Beat. In fact, in some cases, if you have panels like this, it could even indicate that all of these moments happen at the same time, right? If you want a panel that is supposed to express a good deal of time passing, you do a wide horizontal, right? Because your eye traveling left to right will pass through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 moments of time as quickly as your eye will pass left to right in one long panel. So this long panel gives the idea that you're taking more time. Let's get rid of that. Now, what other panel layout ideas? I don't know. Maybe you guys. I'm trying to think. I should have had some specific beats. Have a good night. All right, Comics du Nord. Night chat. If you're looking for a new book, check out Guardians of Erloth on Indiegogo. In a Disguise says, "What's Doug Ernst's new book?" I don't know. I don't follow Doug Ernst. Okay, Peter Mike asks, how often do you replace panels when you already laid out all the panels? Meaning, crafting the story must be hard, but then choose what pages and panels go in and to fit them is a whole nother thing. Replace panels. I don't know. I think I just kind of work it out. I think I know what you mean, but I rarely ever do that. Ken Jack Ben says, I have a slight physical... Oh, I already did that. How much are you thinking about space for lettering at this point? In general, you want to have 1/3 of your space be... Oh, no. It's 2/3. All right, so you want to keep at least a minimum of 1/3 of the space available for, dialogue, text, whatever it is, as opposed to the important art. So important art, this is taking up more than half. This is taking up more than half, right? This is just going to have... I'll have some dead space over here, some dead space over here, some dead space over here if I want to do some sound effects. Boom, 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 and all that stuff. Same thing here. So you've got about 1/3 of the space. 2/3 has been taken up. And then here, this is really the only important art on the page. Well, maybe some bullet holes, whatever. Timeout. Actually, maybe I'll have the timeout over here and then have it going over here. But, yeah, you want to leave at least 1/3 of the space, unless you already have the script and you know that, say, there's no dialogue, maybe he's just going, right here. That's like all the dialogue you're needing. You can fill the rest of the space up. Also, if you want to, you just don't care, you can detail the crap out of every spare inch. It doesn't give your eyes any room to rest, but as long as you don't mind that stuff gets covered up in word balloons, then, who cares? Comic Book Bob says, I've seen 2-page spreads with inset panels in the corners. Is that a standard thing? Yeah, this one right here I might end up doing this one as an inset, right? Like, just kind of make it a smaller, because I want this panel to feel kind of meek, kind of like a quiet little panel, like click, 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 click. Here's your big threat, all your big guns, and then hey, time out over here, right? So yeah, inset panels are still a thing. No problem with those. Comic Artist Pro, Gary Shipman, Artist Pro, sorry. Will you be establishing the car in panel 1? No, I'm not establishing it in panel 1. It's sort of a mystery why he's like going in this panel. I just want this panel to mimic page 2. So we will see the car in its glory right here on panel 2. Do people draw comics without dialogue? Without the dialogue? I think the only comic... Well, actually, that's not fair. I do a comic called Afar, although I haven't worked on it in a couple years. That has no dialogue. But it's not common. Full scripts suck, says Art T. Bear. I disagree, Art. Especially if you're writing it yourself. I got stuck on issue 1 with not enough room to flesh out the thought processes I wanted to give my characters on a couple of scenes. And so yeah, I was not thrilled about that. Jersey Devil says, I mean, they draw a story, but the writer hasn't decided what all the dialogue really says yet. Oh, yeah, that's sort of Marvel style scripting. Although, yeah, I don't know. It goes either way. How do you choose the best angle to view the action from? Well, you want to vary it a bit, right? So I'm kind of going like an upshot here on him, going looking up at the sky. Then we're sort of doing a square side shot here. We're doing sort of a top down here because we want to get all the action from sort of you want all the guns to be able to be showing that you're going to a point of impact, a point of action. So you have all your action going here. And then on the side, another side shot. But that's just so you can get all the guns in, and you can see that there's multiple guys running out of ammo all at the same time. And then another straight on shot here. So you vary it up, down, straight, side. It's you don't want to just be doing upshot, right? You don't want to just be doing side shot. I mean, unless that's like you're doing story, your storytelling for a specific purpose, like the classic shot. So I'm just going to draw in red here, where you have it's the passage of time shot, right? You got 4 panels. You've got a car driving down the road. And the idea, it's terrible, I know. The idea is that you have the same car driving down the road. You have the same car driving down the road. You have the same, it's turning into a boat here, but sorry. I don't know what I'm doing. The same car driving down the road, but in one panel you have trees. In one panel you have buildings. Then one panel you have desert. And then one panel you have him, parked. And there's the ocean. There's a boat out on the river. So you can use the same image to show the passing of, or not the same image, but the same layout or angle to show the passage of time and distance. But it's not dynamic. It's just a storytelling tool. Is there anyone in the car? Yes. Do they live? No, they die. They all drive into the ocean and then die. But it took them very, very long time to get there. Alejandro Mirabal uses some kind of a sphere. Oh, he uses 4-point perspective. So 4-point perspective is you have your vanishing point, you have another 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 vanishing point. And so you have the center of your attention might be here, and it becomes a fisheye lens. Your vanishing points curve out here, right, like a globe, and then your vanishing point construction lines go out this way as well, right? And then you can have you can have man standing here, but you have to follow the lines of the vanishing points for your characters. And then you can have another person down here on their knees, begging for their life, please. And then there's buildings behind them also going to this vanishing point. So you still have your center vanishing point, as I said, like this. Then you can have buildings behind them, sort of in a fisheye lens background style of perspective. And then you can have a car back here, right, with going to this vanishing point, starting at this vanishing point. And then whatever, stuff like that. Begging for something. Begging for Taco Bell. Disco Ball. Yeah, that's one way to say it. Mike's 30 different vanishing point. That is 5-point perspective, I guess. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Okay, so I can only draw a stick. What are some fundamentals to practice? This isn't a fundamentals episode. I've got some of the fundamentals episode if you want to watch from earlier. This will be part of a playlist, so if you want to go to fundamentals, just go to the playlist after the fact. Flip through some of those, and you'll see some more fundamental stuff. I will be doing my YouTube show again soon, doing a little retooling right now. It was great, just taking a little time. All right. So I'm going to get back to drawing on this bad boy. If anyone has any continued questions, I can continue to work those out for you. Yeah, that's where I'm at. Oops, too big. 5. Alright, so Lone Stars thing. Again, any questions are welcome as to the art of storytelling. This is a workshop. If you have any storytelling questions, any layout questions, please do take the time to ask. Anayo. Comic Book Bob says, what do you think about panels overlapping to indicate direction importance when figures elements break the panel borders? What's the proper use of those? If you are forced to explain to the viewer that this panel goes to this panel, it's such a cheat. It's really not something I would ever want to do, but if I found myself having laid out a page and having fallen in love with the layout that I've done, but the storytelling just isn't working, I don't know. I don't think I've done that in 20 years. Storytelling to me is more important than flash layouts, you know. I mean, it's a story. The first most important part about storytelling is the story to me. So, yeah, I was never... Okay, I guess there was a time when I might have been like, oh man, I really got to do a cool, flashy, make sure this page looks so awesome so I can sell it in the collector's market and make, but that's not my general mindset, and it's certainly not the mindset I would want anybody that I was working with to have. Right? To me, the story is paramount. This is a storytelling medium. It's not a selling original art. Man, draw a pinup, draw a cover, draw a. If your motivation is to sell your original art and not to tell a good story, then I don't know. Freaking just take commissions, man. Take commissions and draw whatever. But your job when you're hired to draw a comic book, your job is to tell a good story. Period. Tell a good story with really good art, and that is your. That is it. Would be cool. The reader was looking through the window at Lone Star on panel 1. There's nobody in the car. There's nobody in the car, Gary. Lone Star wouldn't do that to someone in the car. Like tilt a car up so that a bunch of gang members can shoot at the car. Don't you know anything about Lone Star, Gary? Captain Hills, Mike, can you talk about panel quantity? Do you try and tell small story essentials per page or 2 pages? Do you try to achieve something per page and base the panel quantity off of that? I try to, I don't know. If something can be told in a tiny panel and it looks cool, that's that's rad. You can save the big, funky action shots. It's hard to do on something like this, a panel like this where everything is big funky action shots. That's kind of why I left this panel here so little room, right? Because it's like, this is a cutesy little storytelling element, but I want things like, cool Lone Star pulling up the cool Lone Star pose, and then the pushing up the car pose, and then the everybody shooting pose, and then everybody running out, all the ammo, all the action stuff. I want to have enough room to enjoy that moment of storytelling, if you know what I'm talking about. There, not to rag on John Malin, but there's a scene in Jawbreakers, where he's got a two dozen people getting shot. It's a huge action scene, and he does it in this little strip of space, like right down here at the bottom of the panel, and it's like, it I don't know. It felt like maybe they needed another 8 pages for that story to just, because he had so much going on, but some of the stuff just had to get kind of shrunk up and put in I don't know if concisely, just it had to get reduced. I didn't think it, I thought it deserved more space, and it would have been fun to see Malin draw that. So try to keep the little panels for things that aren't fun to look at. That I mean, yeah, granted, maybe seeing 20 people getting shot isn't fun to look at, but it's a comic book. Of course it's fun to look at. All right, so this is Malone Star. Malone Star. And actually, I do want to have him, like, I want his shirt to be full of bullet holes. I don't want his jacket, though. Not his jacket. All right, so, and then he does have his eagle here. Is Lone Star killing people in cars? No. He's not a vehicular homicider. The camera, says Gary Shipman. I don't know what that means, but the camera to you too. Alright, so he should have lots of shots. I even wanted to have kind of wanted to have his goggles be broken. Yeah, I think I'll do that. And have blood coming down out of his face. I just want him to look wrecked. Lone Star got wrecked. Alright. So, yeah, I don't need to... all this noodly doodly stuff back here, unimportant. I'll probably just whack this background one, so maybe I should drop some information in here. So, trees. Because, again, there were silhouetted trees in the other one, but these would be different trees because he's not... He's in Chicago. Oh, actually, no, maybe... He is actually in the same vicinity. And then... maybe the moon would be a little smaller here. Something like that. Mike, with the vertical panels next to each other suggesting a short transition time, but if the action is mostly horizontal, which do you prioritize? The most important panel. Whatever the key action is happening, right? Like you can have, if you're having somebody knife fighting, you can have a bunch of very quick transitional, like knives and arms and things. But if somebody gets stabbed, you want to kind of widen that out a bit and enjoy that moment. Sorry, I know that's not the right way to put it, but you want to have the moments that the moments that matter should have larger panels. The moments that are fun to stop and stare at have the extra that little extra real estate, so to speak. Gary meant if it'd be neat if the point of view of panel 1 was as if we were looking through the car window. Yeah, I understood it the first time he said it. I just forgot what he was talking about when he finally said camera angle. I got it. All right. How do you make sure the background doesn't affect or obstruct the characters moving? Well, the characters would ideally be in the foreground, right? So the background would be behind them? Maybe rephrase your question. Comic Book Bob, speaking of Lone Star getting wrecked, what's his upper strength level? I forget, I'm curious. Lone Star is a little stronger than the strongest human on Earth, whatever that level is. So, is Lone Star able to lift a car up on its side by himself? Yes. Is it easy? No. He's not, he ain't the Hulk. But I understand that, at least in the very beginning, this was sort of Captain America's power level. He was like as strong as the strongest human. Lone Star is actually a little stronger than the strongest human. Although the strongest human might weigh 400 pounds and it's all muscle. Well, not 400, maybe 300 pounds. And it's all muscle. Lone Star weighs, 2.25 maybe. And he's still stronger than the strongest man. Why does that kid keep hitting that thing? So, oh my gosh, JoJo, stop it! Do you try to follow traditional 3-act storytelling on these larger length comics? Yes and no. I do that as much as I can, but the three issue story follows a total 3-act. Although it's not like Act 1 is issue 1, Act 2 is issue 2. There is a little breakup there. But yeah, the totality of the story will be the 3-act story. Is that too tall? Oh, yeah, no, that's about right. Did you hear about the Spider-Man gravestone kid, Ollie? Can we do a drawn and quartered in honor of him and send his family the artwork? We've already done Spider-Man, though. We've already done Spider-Man. In fact, I have my Spider-Man right here. I had it out for the auction. Maybe we could just put a call out, I'm not sure how we would get a hold of his parents. It's a nice idea, though. Wait, how wide is a car? I guess I can make this like a bigger car. Alright, so layout, this tire has to be in front, this tire has to be behind him. And then, boy, that arm just does seem a little bit long, doesn't it? Dark Knight says, if your characters are fighting in the foreground, how do you make sure the background isn't too distracting and affects the storytelling of the characters fighting? You make sure that your foreground character is close up enough that the background characters are smaller and less detailed. So you don't want your background characters to be like here. Right? You want them to be in the background, in the back, and you want to give them some breathing space so that it doesn't look like they're all just in a jumbled mess. Unless that's what's going on. If you're in a jumbled mess, then it's okay that your foreground and your background characters are getting confused, because the idea of that kind of a picture is a jumbled mess. Like your background characters in a rave or in a party, a dance party, your background characters are interacting with your foreground characters, and the idea is you're jostling and bustling and you're busy. It's all so busy that there's no way to differentiate background and foreground. Hoping that makes sense. And this is the wonderful thing about Photoshop. I don't have to redraw that. I can just resize it. All right. Da, 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 da. So a gorilla could pluck Lone Star's arm off. I don't know. You think a gorilla could pluck Lou Ferrigno's arm off? Do ya? Do you think that he could? Alright, so this will be the car. I'm going to get reference for the car when I actually draw it. So this is not going to be necessary. Oh, wait. This is not going to be necessarily correct. Actually, that is a huge car. Alright, I'm going to have to make Lone Star bigger. Or I'm going to have to make the car smaller. That is too big a car. So, let's see. I don't want to make it a... Yeah, it's about right there. How did you create Lone Star? This isn't really the stream for that. I've told that story a number of times. I created him basically as a foil for the Iron Cross. My theory... I know I said I wasn't going to, and then I started answering it. My theory on superheroes is that they're only as good as their villains. And so I had this great villain called the Iron Cross. And so I was like, well, I need to make a good guy from my bad guy. Any tips on how to cleverly avoid drawing backgrounds? Simplify. You can always do that and get away with it. Avoiding them altogether, I think that's just weak storytelling. And, if you have the time, do your best work, and your best work is going to include backgrounds. And if you're loving what you're doing and you're loving the picture you're drawing, then any picture should generally be including some sort of a background, unless you're like just really into like graphic elements or whatnot. I could silhouette this. I could do like, okay, here we're gonna have the wall behind him, right? The wall's still gonna be behind him. I don't know how far back it goes. Actually, I should have thought about that beforehand. Maybe there's something else back here. You can still see the trees. You can see some buildings. Ooh, you know what? This is Chicago, so I'm gonna put Sears Tower back here, so you can see it in the background. This is sort of a Chicago suburb. See some buildings. I think the coolest way to avoid backgrounds is by making your foreground stuff really big. So then it's like, hey, look, I'm drawing a few building tops back here, but it gives you a sense of background, it gives you a sense of depth. But you're really still taking up half of your panel with your foreground stuff. Gosh, I'd like to do something in the foreground here. I'll try to think of something. That's another good tip, is that for a really finished piece, really finished frame, instead of like here, you have foreground and you have, well, I guess technically if I want to go ahead and detail the moon, that's far background. So you'd have foreground, midground, and background, right? Foreground, midground, background. Here I only have midground, background. I have nothing in the foreground. If I wanted to draw, I don't know, what could I do? I'd have to do something up here. I could do like a fire hydrant here or something like that to kind of frame it off, but then that's cutting off his leg, which I guess is okay. I could do something like that. I could do a fire hydrant here, or I could do, I don't know. I'd have to look around for some reference to see what kind of crap they have on the streets. I could do a street sign, right? Street sign, just a pole, street sign here. Because if you're doing all three, foreground, midground, background, you get a good sense of depth for each panel. And oftentimes, like I'm doing here, the midground is the action. If you want to be real fancy, make the background the action. Carlos Pacheco does some of this great panel work where you have all this cool stuff happening in the foreground. You've got guys fighting. You've got whatever, rocks and blah, 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 all this cool stuff in the foreground. And then you've got just kind of more action and more stuff in the background. And then, or not the background, in the midground. And then way in the background, you have like these two characters having a conversation, right? And it's like this guy back here, this is what this panel is about, but all of this busybody stuff is happening around it, and it just makes for these great epic scenes. I love that stuff. I should do that more often. But it takes effort. Remember, it takes effort to constantly remind yourself that you can read in essentially 3D: foreground, midground, background. Foreground, midground, background. Do you consciously think about tangents as you do layouts, or is it just second nature, like the tangent Nazi John Malin? I don't think about it. I just tend to notice it when I see it, or fail to notice it. I usually notice it when I see it, and then except for I don't want to change things so much, so I'll try to cheat it a little bit. Try to cheat some tangents. Could a pedestrian be screaming, running in the foreground? Yeah. Oh, in mine? I don't think there's room the way I've laid it out. See, that's something I should have thought about first. That is something I should have thought about first. Could I do a pedestrian? I think I would have to change the angle on this, but I wanted it to be sort of low angle so it feels like the car's heavier. So if I did running in the background, her knee would be down here, right? Then she'd be like running up here. This would be her hip. That wouldn't really make sense. Wouldn't really make sense. Does John consciously think about how to make sure feet are off panel during his layouts? I couldn't tell you for sure, but I have my suspicions. May I take a steamy... No, you may not. Although I appreciate you saying I have a beautiful face. See, now right here, I'm creating a tangent that I'm going to have to deal with. So I might as well deal with it now. I'll deal with it now by making his gun a little higher. Yelling. Shoot this guy. John Chedesser for $10 says, drawn and quartered question suggestion Spider-Man, and then send the drawings to Ollie's family. Now I know this will mean that people won't be able to sell the piece, but I believe it is worth it. We've already done Spider-Man, John. I'll talk to the other guys. But I do kind of hate to regurgitate a topic. I can certainly send him the Spider-Man I did for my drawn and quartered because I still have it. And I do appreciate the heart of the question. Someone's going to have to be able to get a hold of his parents, though. Plus, that's next week. Where is my Lone Star disembodied floating head next to my name? I haven't started that yet. I will. I'll get around to doing membership stuff, but yeah, not just yet. All right. So then there's still a wall. There's a wall back here. Wall. All right. Regurgitate what y'all talking about. All right, Captain Hells, D&Q. Everyone should draw Ollie as a superhero and then send it to the family. Aww. That's adorable. All right, so that's layout-wise rough enough, I guess. I mean, I could get in there and make it all tight and whatnot, but... Alright, let's just do one angry face. Man, I'm going to get in more trouble for this one because these guys are all going to be black. And then people can be like, dude, you're racist against Mexicans and blacks. And I would be like, they're in Chicago. Gangs, there's not a lot of racially diverse gangs. Usually they kind of stick together. Right? Family. If I did the Mafia, they'd be Italian. Oh, I should do the Mafia next. And then I'd be racist against Italians. And then I'll do the Yakuza, and then I'll get crap for being anti-Asian. Throw a white lawyer in the background. Oops. Alright, this... you know what? I don't think this guy should be carrying a deagle. Let's not do that big of a gun. Slick Rick says, Mexican and black gangs hate each other in some areas. Yep. It's true. It's true. Throw in a Malaysian. Throw in a Malaysian? Are you saying that Malaysians are small enough that you can just throw them, Malin? So racist. So racist. I know that's what you meant by that. Most common handguns are 9mm. Yeah. Is that a Desert Eagle? It was gonna be, and then I changed my mind. It's like these are Chicago street gangs. They're not gonna be rocking Desert Eagles. We're rocking 9mm and yeah, Glocks and I don't know what else is popular. Rugers. What's popular in the gang community these days? Make one a black ginger. There you go. Alright, so I think that's good for layout purposes. And then here I'll do my little bitty timeout. And I'm almost done, ladies and germs. Almost done with my layout. Any other questions before I tap out and go print this out and do all the hard work? All right, let's get rid of this panel here. Let's get rid of this one. Oh, geez, was I working on 2 different layers? Whatever, that's good enough. And then I'll just do my panel breakdowns, like drawing out my panels on the actual panel. Actually, let me merge these all together. Apparently, you've never been to the south side of Chicago. Why do you say that? Oh, about the guns? Tell me, what do I need to know? You guys be my research. You saying they got deagles down there? Oh, man. Oh, man. Alright, so I'll just lay that out like that. Alright, so ladies and gentlemen, that is your basic layout. Loose breakdown. You can call it. Aaron says, let's check out the guns they handed out to the cartels with Fast and Furious program. Mike, I heard they were very cool guns. But that's the cartels. They didn't hand them to the Chicago gangs, did they? I don't really recall. How do you highlight names when you tag someone? You just at them. You at them with their name, and then it'll show up to me, or it'll show up to them as highlighted. Do you ever do a recap at the end of a lesson? I was late to class. No sketch, but you can watch it all over from the beginning. It's like, Rick, you and Malin need to do a bit where you pick apart problems with portfolios like EVS used to. They are aiming like one-handed target shooting can competitors. Okay. People that want gun control live in neighborhoods. That's not what this is about. Still waiting for someone to use a photon gun in a comic book. Every message is directed at you will be highlighted. Yes. Dynamo. John Malin likes your idea, Dynamo. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here. This has been How to Draw Comics Like a Pro Page Layout episode. Yeah! Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something. Be here for the next one. I don't know. I'll probably do some sort of live streaming tonight. I'm not sure what it will be, but hey, get out there if you haven't already. Check out Masters of Mayhem, my son's Kickstarter. The link is in the description. We have 21 backers now, unless there's any new ones. $1,500 pledged of $5,000. It is a fantastic game. Please, everyone, do, if you can, go and support my boy Elijah as he sets off in the brave world of gaming and tries to conquer the world. All right, everybody, thanks for being here. I guess that's it. Peace out.